Welcome back to another Kray video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any videos. And for people really interested in the Krays, check out our private Facebook group, Krays Crime Lords of London. A direct link for the group is in the YouTube description section. We're a friendly and moderated group which has been running since January 2018. Come and give us a try sometime.
Doubtless Ronnie Kray would have thought this a fitting way to make his last journey through the streets of East London. The gangland murderer, who for a brief period lived a life of a celebrity, was feted by thousands as his coffin aboard a horse-drawn hearse was taken through the streets of his former home. In the funeral procession of dozens of limousines was his surviving brother Reggie, temporarily released from prison to pay his last respects. With family, friends and former gang members, the cortege was surrounded by onlookers as it passed the family house in Valence Road. As they arrived at St Matthew's Church, a huge cry went up as Reggie appeared, greeted more like a film star than a criminal. Inside, a simple service was conducted to Ronnie Kray, a man who terrorised many as a brutal gangland boss. But people here seem to have forgotten many of their horrific tales.
You can see it's a big mark of respect. Everybody respected him for what he was. He kept everything just in the game.
Ridiculous keeping him locked up, isn't it? After all this time, I mean, he's done his time, hasn't he? There's people raping old ladies now and getting off with it, aren't they? So to me, it's stupid keeping the man locked up.
After the service, there was absolute pandemonium in the streets of Bethnal Green. The first to leave was Reggie Kray, who waved at the thousands who had come to see him and pay their last respect. Thousands still followed the cortege on its final journey away from East London. Police looked on in amazement as old and young alike, caught up in the euphoria of the moment, crowded around the hearse carrying the body of one of Britain's most notorious murderers and gangland killers.
So this brings to an end Ronnie Kray's involvement in the East End, but there's still remarkable emotional support for him and his brother here. They will now go to Chingford for a private family funeral. Stuart Ramsey, Sky News in the East End of London.
While the popularity of the Kray twins in the East End has passed into folklore, few could have predicted the sheer numbers who came to witness the funeral of Ronnie Kray. The gangland murderer's body, carried aboard a horse-drawn hearse, was taken through the streets of his former home, followed by his brother Reggie and dozens of limousines. As they arrived at St Matthew's Church, a huge cry went up as Reggie Kray appeared. He was greeted more like a film star than a criminal. Inside, former gang members and family paid their last respects to the man who terrorised many as a brutal gangland boss. For a few minutes, Reggie Kray, temporarily released from prison, had time for his own thoughts, surrounded by family and friends. For many of those outside the church, Ronnie Kray's crimes have been forgotten.
We're safer living in them days with them about than what you are now. And it's a load of rubbish. They terrorised the East End. Didn't terrorise me.
They was harmless. Only you trouble amongst their own, that was all.
After the service, there was absolute pandemonium as the cortege set off once again. Thousands followed, bringing the East End to a halt as the procession travelled a few miles to the cemetery where his mother and father are buried. There, even more had gathered in staggering numbers. Finally, the body of Ronnie Kray, who died of heart failure aged 61, was buried beside his family, bringing to an end the evil partnership with his twin brother Reggie, who maintains to the last that they have no regrets.
It's clear there's still a remarkable amount of support for the Kray twins here in this part of East London. And certainly for some elements of society, they will always remain heroes. For most people, though, they were and will always be vicious criminals and ultimately murderers. Stuart Ramsey, Sky News in the East End of London. Easy.
close it so I can see the front? You just open it.
Yeah.
Read it.
Happy night, no.
Is he?
Yeah.
Ready? Yeah. Ready? I've got to stay already.
Whoever's got a zoom camera's got a perfect shot.
Hello?
No, it's not me. It's all the mobiles ringing, Joe. Fucking thing's going to collapse in a minute, man. I'll tell him. Mine's going to be arsehole.
He's wobbling about. Wobbling about, bloke on the right. Who's moving at the end there?
Keep back, please, people. Keep back, everybody.
What?
Sorry, sir. Get back there. Red, up this way. Red, up the top. Pull that, Red. Calm down. Ricky, up there, mate. Move you. Move away. This means you. Move away. Off the road. Now. Get off the road. Onto the side, please.